cards. I'm going to show you a trick with the 4 jacks. Okay, see you in a minute. So, a trick with the 4 jacks, look. Okay, the 4 jacks. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the first jack at the bottom of the pack like that. Okay, the second jack is going to go about halfway up. The third one is going to go a bit higher up still, and the fourth one we'll just leave on the top. Okay, so we've got the 4 jacks spread throughout the pack. I just push them in, snap my fingers, say my magic words, supersonic sausages, and amazingly the 4 jacks come to the top of the pack. And before you say there must be more than 4 jacks in the pack, no there isn't. So that's a trick called the 4 jacks. Sometimes we use the 4 jacks for a reason. There's no reason why you couldn't use the 4 aces or the 4 kings or the 4 queens or even the 4 sevens, 8s or 9s. But the reason we use the 4 jacks is that when this is a very old magic trick. When people present this trick, they talk about 4 burglars who went to rob a house or a bank. And just using the jacks makes a bit of sense because then we're talking about people rather than numbers or aces or something like that. So I'm going to show you how the trick is done, okay? And then and I will present it this time with the story about the 4 burglars, so you can see why we use the story of the 4 burglars. So what you need to do is you need to find the 4 aces, okay? I always like to alternate the aces so they go red, black, or black, red. I just think it looks a bit nicer. Okay, so pick up the 4 aces like this, hold them face up so you can see the jacks facing up, and square them up in your hands so they're in a nice little pile like that. Then hold them from above with your fingers at the front like this and your thumb at the back. So you hold them like that, but don't hold them like this because nobody can see the cards. Okay, hold them about halfway across the ends like that, so everybody can see that that's a jack, and then spread the cards out so that they can see you've got the 4 jacks. Okay, there we go. And then take any 3 other cards, make them into a little pile, keep them face up, and put them underneath the jacks, underneath this jack here, the one on the far right hand side as you look at them. So as you're looking at it, the one on the far left. Okay, and because you're holding the cards with your fingers at the ends here, nobody can see that you've got some extra cards underneath. If I do that, you can. They're here, look, these. But if I hold it like this, nobody can see that you're holding the extra cards. And so you do all this before you start presenting the trick to your spectator or to your audience, okay? But you say, I'm going to tell you a story about the 4 burglars who coincidentally were all called Jack. And these burglars, they set about robbing a bank. They landed a helicopter on top of the bank like that. The first burglar got out and he broke into the basement, to the cellar. The second burglar got out, he broke in through the front door. The third burglar, he got in and he got out and he broke in through a 2nd floor window. The 4th burglar, he stayed on the roof as lookout. The lookout heard a siren. He looked down over the side of the building and saw a police car pull up. They'd been rumbled and he called his mates. Quick, we need to scarper. And so all the burglars jumped up from what they were doing, ran up the stairs to the roof. And when they got to the roof, they all climbed into the helicopter and flew away to their hideout. So that's the story of the 4 burglars. And you can see, let me just perform it again for you. Let's find 4 cards. I don't like using the picture cards when I do this trick. It's better if you just use some spot cards. So, we do remember, pile the cards up in a nice neat pile, spread them out so that there are the 4 jacks showing, pick up the other 3 cards, put them underneath the jack at this end, like that, okay, and then start the story. You talk about the 4 burglars, and you show the jack, they're all called Jack, and you push them together like this, you square them up so you've got a nice pile of cards. Just turn them over and put them on top, and you talk about the burglars landing their helicopter on top of the bank, on the roof of the bank, like that. Take off the first card, which everybody thinks is one of the burglars, but isn't, and say he broke in the cellar, and just put him right down the bottom of the pack. The second burglar, which isn't, you say he broke in through the front door. The third burglar, which again isn't, they're the 3 cards that you had hidden underneath the jacks. He broke in through a window on the 2nd floor. And the 4th burglar, which is a jack, stayed on the roof as lookout. The burglar on the roof saw a police car or heard a siren, called to his friends that they need to escape. They all dived up into the corridor, up the stairs, onto the roof, and by the time the police got there, the four burglars had climbed into their helicopter and flown away. And that's the story of the 4 burglars. Now, as I say, all this setup that you do, oops, come here. Okay, all this you have to do before you start performing the tricks. You have to do this in secret before the audience, the audience sees you. There is a way in which you can do this in front of the audience, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, just put these cards on the bottom, and we will put the jacks into the pack in various different places. Okay, so this is how a pack of cards might be handed to you, with the jacks spread out throughout the pack. Okay, so you take the cards and you say, I'm going to tell you a story about 4 men called Jack. When you find a jack, push it forward so it sticks out at the front of the pack like this. 4 men whose names were all Jack. And these 4 men, not only were they all called Jack, but they were all burglars. Take the cards, okay, and you spread the cards out like this, and you show them to your audience. And as you're showing the cards to your audience over here, and they're looking at the cards like this, so you do this, over here, push 3 cards off the top of the pack with your thumb, and then push them upwards slightly with your fingers. So now you can see there's a gap between these 3 cards and the rest of the pack. So when you push these cards together, take the jacks, you show the jacks like this, push these cards together and square them up. When you lift them off, you're not lifting off the 4 jacks, you're lifting off 7 cards. Turn the pack over, turn the cards over, and so talk about the helicopter landing on top of the bank. And then the rest is just the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. They hear the police car, they all rush up the stairs to the top of the bank, to the roof of the bank. climb into their helicopter and fly away. Okay. Now the only thing to remember when you're doing this is you have the 4 jacks, okay, that you've taken out of the pack, and you've pushed off 3 cards like this, and you're keeping a gap between those 3 cards and the rest of the pack. When you push these cards together and take them off, now look, that's a 6 of spades. When you push these cards together and take them off, if you were just taking off these 4 jacks, you would show the 6 of spades because it's the card that's under the jacks. In actual fact, you're taking off 7 cards, and so you're showing a different card. It happens to be the 7 of spades in this instance. So let's just change that so it's a bit more obvious that something odd is happening. So you have 4 jacks, okay? You've pushed 3 cards off like this, and then you use the jacks and square them all up like this. And then, now if you take off these 4 jacks, you would show the 6 of spades. But you're taking off not 4 jacks, but 7 cards. And so the card that you're showing isn't the 6 of spades. Now, anybody that's been watching closely would realise that you've taken off more than just the 4 jacks. So as you take off these jacks, just turn your hand over to turn over the pack. And then you can turn these 7 cards over, drop them on top, and the rest you just tell the story of the 4 burglars who broke into the bank on 4 different floors. One stayed on the roof as lookout, heard the police arrive, called to his friends who ran up the stairs to the roof, climbed into the helicopter, and the 4 burglars all escaped scot-free. So there you go. That is the 4 jacks or the 4 burglars. Okay, so the 4 burglars. Now this trick isn't any more difficult than the tricks I've shown you before. If you do this setup with the 3 cards hidden underneath before you go out to present the trick to your audience, that is no more difficult than the 4-ace trick I showed you on day 1. I think I showed you the 4-ace trick on day 1. So yeah, if you're happy performing the trick that way, do it that way. That's absolutely fine. There's no reason why you shouldn't. If you want to try doing the thing where you push the 3 cards off the top and then do that and turn the cards over, that's fine. Do that as well. But the main thing is whichever way you try to present this trick or any trick that you perform to a member of the audience, whichever trick you do, make sure that you practice it first, because there's nothing worse than going in front of an audience with a trick, saying you can perform magic, and then it all going wrong, because all you're doing then is showing people that you can't perform magic. It's embarrassing, and of course you're showing people, in many cases, you're showing people how the magic tricks work, and we don't want to do that, because if you tell people how magic tricks work, then they're no longer magic, they're no longer entertaining. All they are is a little puzzle, a little puzzle that you've used to trick them, and nobody likes being tricked. They like being amused, they like being amazed, and that's what magic should be. It should be amazing, it should be fun, it shouldn't be a case of I've tricked you, aren't I clever? So always be humble when you do your magic. Try to join in the fun rather than trying to show off to somebody that you're more clever than they are. So there you go. The 4 jokers. The 4 jacks. As I say, you can perform it the simple way. Set everything up before you go in front of the audience. Or you can, if you're more confident, you can perform it by actually setting up the 7 cards you need in front of the audience while you're talking. Whichever way you do it, I hope you have a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow with another trick, and I'll see you then.